Good evening and hello. Welcome to the BP Hero Podcast. We're working on getting things fired up here. Gonna be a quick one tonight. Got lots on the agenda. Trying to get ready for the holidays and whatnots and suches, and sometimes there's just not enough minutes in the day. But damn it, we're here. There's no thunderstorms. There's no power flashing. No internet coming in and out. We are just here. No distractions. Adam, hello. Hope you're doing well. So tell me, we were discussing at work. People were wanting to know, like, are you still playing League and stuff like out there on the East Coast? Do you run leagues through the wintertime? It's like a guy was asking me, like, if we play here. It's like, no. Not even a little bit. But, I don't know, like, on the coast, if they ever, like, put a stop to it for a little bit if there's an off season, or if you just kind of roll through. What do you do out there? Good morning. I don't know why I said morning. First timer. Good evening, John. Hi, sweetie. Adam says no league in the wintertime. I didn't think so, but I didn't know what to say for sure. Yeah, there's always tournament ball going on. That'll be a somewhat of a topic here. Oh boy, let me tell you. I'm not thrilled with the stories I have for tournament softball, but it was ball. It was a day with the boys, so we'll take it for what it is. Happy holidays to you, Eric. Thanks for stopping in. Who all's done with the work week? I have one more day left, and then I'm done. So ready to be done. Sometimes, like, it's not so much like the holidays suck. Not even in the slightest. But man, sometimes just the holiday grind it can really set the tone for stuff sometimes. I was talking with some people at work, like being in the line of work that I'm in where, we're doing production work. You're still expected to work and meet numbers even if there's people on vacation. Allocated. You got work allocated for certain things no matter what, if there's people there or not. As far as like, people on vacation. And man, it's just a grind. You're always, at least a couple people short. That's not counting people, who may call in or have family emergencies or, something comes up and they need the day off, but you're always short people. So everything's kind of hectic anyway. And it's like that across the entire plant. So just everybody's in that hustle, and like a lot of the engineers and salaried people and some of the supervisors are off for the holidays. And dude, it's a bit of a grinder. You get in that holiday grind where it's like, man, is it ever going to end? And then it gets here and you're like, man, I want that back. It's kind of a weird deal, but I'm sure you guys have at least felt that a little bit. But it's always kind of a weird thing where you're ready for it to be over and then it's over and you wish you had it back. John says he's got 2 more days. So wait, you have to work on Christmas Eve? Animals. Absolute animals in there. That's madness. So we're off Christmas Eve and then work all through the week. Yes, work all through the week next week. We do have to work New Year's Eve. But there will be no overtime or anything the weekend of New Year's. Then we have that Monday after New Year's off. We have the 3rd off. So that's interesting. They gave us a third off. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. You take paid holidays wherever you can get them, right? I should speak to the guy that owns this channel about paid holidays. See if I can get a few, right? We'll do the usual though. Kind of let the crowd file in. Always got to remember we got 2 weeks to catch up on here. I really had some good stuff kind of loaded up, you might say, for last week's podcast, and then kind of fell apart when the weather came rolling through. There was no like tornadoes or anything like that, but there was like 60, 70 mile an hour winds, and I do believe it was the wind affecting the power. Could be wrong, but I do believe it was the wind affecting the power, not so much even like the thunder and the lightning and things like that. It was just blowing hard and it just wouldn't let up. It was insanity. But we made it. We survived. And I'm in a bit of a debacle. I'm gonna have to bring this one back. I need you guys to put in the comments some of your favorite crockpot recipes. So here's the deal. Tomorrow's our last day of work. And we got a carry-in at work. What that was, sorry. So we have a carry-in at work. I'm thinking like, oh, cool. Bring in something cool. And I looked up this recipe for these lime and cilantro chicken tacos. You got to make them in a slow cooker. And I'm thinking to myself like, all right, yeah, cool. Like I'm gonna get all the stuff after work and go home and knock it out. And then I get to reading. I got this like set up in my head, like how exactly it's gonna work and everything else. And I get to reading, and this recipe is made for like a 1.5 quart crock pot. It's like one of the little guys. And like we don't have little crock pots like that. We got big crock pots because we eat big food. So that kind of like threw a complete wrench in everything, because I'm not gonna have time or opportunity to cook the chicken the way it needs to be cooked and then get it drained and everything else. And I don't want to like put it in there and trust it to reheat. That's kind of the other thing that was going to be weird with that is I'd want to try and like reheat it. Then it ends up getting weird and sticking to the bottom or not getting warm enough, so I don't know what to do. I'm really up shit creek without a paddle. I'm leaving this podcast and running to the store to get something to make in a crock pot. But what it is yet, I have no clue. I did think about just sticking with the lime and cilantro recipe and just using like pre-cooked chicken. But I just don't know how that would taste. Or even like so you can do chicken in an Instapot. And that stuff cooks in like literally 15 minutes. And then, you could shred it up and put it in the bottom and then basically have everything ready and then just heat it back up tomorrow and kind of let everything get to know itself in the crock pot. You could do it that way. I don't know. I hate to experiment with stuff like that when it comes to a bunch of people eating it. And then it's just like, oh, well, this tastes like shit. Nobody wants to be that guy, right? But all that being said, I hate to be the guy that just like sticks with the usual. Like usually Rotel's my go-to. I love Rotel dip. Like I'll make it, take it to work, do it there. We'll do our thing with it there, and then bring it home and eat on it for a couple days too. But I'm just looking to mix things up a little bit. But I'm afraid I might have screwed myself here. See, Adam says, haven't made it yet, but I saw a brisket chili. Okay, I could get down with some brisket chili. And that's kind of the weird thing, too, is like there's no theme. So it's nice like there's no theme, so you can bring what you want, but it's like, we got a guy bringing chili, we got another lady bringing meatballs. Like, if I show up with a breakfast casserole, it's like, what? hang on, let me slide over my breakfast casserole so I can have some meatballs and some chili. Dude, hey, I'm gonna tell you something. That plumbing's getting a good workout after dinner. But we're 10 minutes are up. Let's get this thing started. So we're gonna date ourselves back here, going back to a couple weeks. Let's see if I can get some pictures loaded up here for you. So it's been an eventful week and a half or so. Like I said, the holiday grind kind of keeps you busy and keeps you moving. Kind of like one of those things where you've got somewhere to be every night. Excuse me. There was a stretch where at one point, I think it was going to be like 9 days in a row, we had somewhere to be every night. And dude, it takes a toll on you. It really does. So let's do save. Oh, save. Put those into. Oh gosh. Really should have came prepared for this. So on Friday of not this last week, but the week before, I'm just going to kind of run you through the weekend. Went to a very nice steakhouse, one that everybody always talks about in Columbia, Missouri. Said that's really good. And I've always heard, people getting like sticker shock food being super expensive or, any kind of madness or anything like that. But to me, like, I don't know, I guess it just depends on the area you're in. Like, sorry, I can't type and talk. So I guess it just depends on the area that you're in as far as like what you would consider expensive. But I have heard people say that like, don't go in there and plan on spending any less than, a couple $100. I'm thinking like $200, like golly, that's expensive. That makes me think like, $80-90 for a plate of food. But where they get you, I figured out. So this place we went to, it was very good. It was a steakhouse, and where they get you is all the extras. So you can get a steak, which the most expensive steak they had, the most expensive menu option was basically it was either steak, you could do steak and shrimp or steak and lobster tail, and I think it was like $60. And like I didn't have the heart to order that. It was a company dinner for my wife. And I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be the guy that ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. So I punked out. After talking a bunch of crap, I punked out. And went with a New York strip. And it was $32. And that was the most expensive cut of steak. But that New York strip was $32. And then my wife got something. I can't remember what. But we could have easily eaten there for under $100 as long as you don't go crazy. But where they get you is the sides. So you could get like lobster stuffed, was it lobster double baked mashed potatoes or all these crazy different sides and add-ons and things like that. Just to upgrade to that lobster double baked potato thing was like $8 or $9. That's where they get you. That is 100% where they get you. But it was very good food. I ended up just getting New York strip and some rice. Let's pull up screen cap monitor 2. Boom. So this is a salad that came beforehand. And like I know everybody was like, oh, salad, whatever. But like the salad is really good. It didn't do a good job of capturing the picture of this either. So the salad is actually kind of like all balled up inside of this. And this is actually like a slice, like a strip of cucumber that they cut up. And dude, it's legit. It's so good. So you kind of like undo the cucumber, cut the cucumber up, and the salad just falls out. And then everything just kind of falls into place. Hit it with your dressing or whatever you wanted on it, and you just go to town. It was very good. I was impressed by the presentation there. So we had that, and then here's my New York strip. It was legit as well. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Good and juicy. Got that pink on the inside. It was very good. It was actually really cool. I meant to get a picture of it. So up on the wall, they had a big TV that was basically broadcasting the kitchen. And like it was where the grill was. The dude's in there doing his thing, throwing steaks on, doing shrimp and you know, all the lobster tails and stuff. And you could see him like throwing wood in the fire, and it was a pretty cool experience to be able to see that. And so I got the New York strip and the rice pilaf. I think is how you say that. But it was really good. So we did that on Friday, and then I don't think I have a single picture from Saturday, but I talked about this a couple of episodes ago about going and playing softball on like a really, really short field. So basically, here's the format of the tournament. They built a new complex. It's all turf, 100%. Every field is turf, from the backstop to the outfield fence, and the fences are 200 down the corners and 230 in center. See you, Eric. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. Merry Christmas, man. So the fences are really short. It's a U-trip tournament. Hitting U-trip balls, swinging U-trip bats. And it's like seriously 40 degrees outside. So you can imagine kind of where I'm going with this. And where things got interesting, and I was kind of like, man, this is kind of lame. Especially being a pitcher. Brian said it would get to me, and it kind of did after a little bit. But it was just frustrating because how the format of the tournament was basically, I guess in years past they've done it where there was a screen out there, a pitching screen out there, and you got 5 home runs per inning. You're capped at 15 runs per inning. And after your 5 home runs are up, you hit the ball out, it's a single. But they did away with that. And here's where my problem was with it as a first experience, and thankfully it didn't bite me. So 200 down the corners, 230 in center, right? We're talking really short fences, like you miss a pop fly out of there. 40-degree weather, they take the screens away and say, hey, look, no solos. A solo isn't out. So you have to have a runner on before you can let someone swing away. So what's that mean? Any kind of competitive formatted slow pitch stuff, when you get into things like that, you're immediately looking and thinking middle shots. And I'm like, God, are you serious? Like, it's the best way to keep the ball down is hit it at the guy closest to you. So I'm sitting here thinking like, dude, because Brian picked me up and just kind of where the roster stuff was going to shake down, I was going to end up pitching for the day. And I was all for it until we get there. And they're like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, no solos. They're outs. And have fun. No screens either. So it was an adventure. The wind was blowing a lot. So it was really hard to try not just like toss biscuits in there, because you know you're trying to get guys to bite on stuff to get them to miss hit if there's no runners on, so you can get them to hit balls out. And then, you know, if you do have a guy that gets a hit or you accidentally walk someone because the wind's pushing pitches the way you don't want him to, then you've got to figure out how to get a guy to miss on a 200-foot fence. It was an adventure. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm glad that guys like going down there and playing that stuff. It's a good way to get out of the house and play ball. The complex is extremely nice. Rumor has it they're going to be putting in a slow pitch side of the park as well. Maybe not there, but somewhere near it. Ran by the same people, and it will be, no question, if it's held to the same standards as this Little League park, it'll be probably the nicest complex in Missouri, no question. If it's as nice as these baseball fields were. But it was cool, like, to be able to not play in a bunch of mud, and it made it interesting from a hitter's aspect of, you know, trying to find ways to be creative and keeping the ball down. It was interesting at times. And then the icing on the cake. So we're playing our last game of the day, or what turned into being our last game of the day. So we went 1-1 in bracket play or pool play. Then we get into bracket play and no screens, right? Well, dude, I'm telling you, the sun was literally right over the umpire's head. And I'm not talking like over his head and up. I'm talking setting behind his head. It was the most miserable thing ever. Like, I couldn't see the pitch. I throw a pitch, and then like I can't look up to follow the ball as I'm throwing it. Like, I see where the ball lands. That's all I can see. I can't tell how high I'm throwing it. Thankfully, I've pitched for a long time, so you kind of get a feel for, you know, how much hump you're putting on a pitch or how high you're throwing it and that kind of thing. But dude, it was absolutely, no question, dangerous. We had a friend get hit in the head at this tournament, not this tournament, but same format. Had a friend get hit in the head a few weeks prior, and that was just because it was cold and, you know, just looking to hit a ball hard. It didn't even have anything to do with the sun. So the first thing that goes through my mind is like, man, this is just like, I'm asking for it here, because you got to keep a ball down. Now, remember, we've got this new aspect of got to be able to keep the ball down unless there's runners on base and there's no screens, and you can't even see it coming. Like, the ball would come off the bat. Like, I could see the batter swing. I couldn't see the ball off the bat. I would have to turn around and look at my fielders to see where the ball was at. Like, you know, see like who's moving where, and like kind of find the ball and go from there. So finally, I talked with the other pitcher. We knew the other team. I talked with their pitcher, and I was like, look, like, if we talk with the umpire, are you good with the screen? Like, I hate being that way when it comes to tournaments, and you know, guy usually does a really good job of running these tournaments, other than this decision he made here. I mean, he does a really good job of running tournaments. I've played in a handful of his tournaments, and they're always well organized. Everything's, you know, up to par. There's no, you know, like, well, what do we do now? What are we waiting on? Like, he keeps you up to date on everything that's going on. He does a good job. But, you know, I hated to kind of like undermine this here. But I was like, hey, look, I can't see. You can't see. Because he and I had this discussion. You know, if we propose it to the umpire and he's okay with it, what do you think about adding a screen? You know, we got a screen here. Brian's got a screen in his truck. You know, can we grab the screen and bring the screen out and set it up if as long as both teams and the umpire is good with that? We talked to the umpire, and, you know, had a quick powwow there and decided everything was good there, because I'm not trying to get hit in the dome or anywhere else for that matter. And it's kind of funny because that kind of turned into a shit show. So Brian was supposed to have a screen in his truck. A guy came to drop it off for him, drop his screen off. He'd borrowed it, and then dude ended up leaving because, you know, he's thinking like, oh, I got time. So then the screen wasn't there, and we're waiting, and somebody shows up and gets another screen out, get it all set up, and realize how big it was. Like, oh, this ain't gonna work, because it took up like, it was seriously like 30 feet wide, it seemed like. So we get it all tore down, and then here comes the other screen back. So honestly, we were delayed for probably a good 30 minutes trying to get the screen debacle figured out. But the entire time, the sun is still beaming down in the pitcher's eyes. It was just insanity. And not even gonna like lie or sugarcoat it, the dude that hit our friend in the head was playing on the team that we were playing against. So you already know this man's ruthless. You know, no personal harsh feelings, anything with this dude. I don't even know the guy. But, you know, obviously this dude's ruthless, so I'm not trying to find out how ruthless he is to hit at a blinded pitcher. So we had to do something. We ended up getting the screen and then dropping the game. That's the big thing with stuff like that is I enjoy not necessarily this type of tournament, but especially like stuff like Woodbat. Just something that's different that makes you more appreciate more than just the offensive side of the game. Because on defense, you get an opportunity, you have to take it. You have to get the out. You have to make the play, because you don't know when you're going to get another one. Right? You get the double play ball, you better turn it, because in a situation like that, how likely you are to get a double play ball when the guy's just looking to hit a pop fly out of there. You got to take those opportunities every time you get them. So it is interesting in that regard. It makes you play a really clean game. You have to. And we did not play a clean game, and we got beat. But at the end of the day, I know I've been sitting here kind of like sounding like I'm whining about this whole thing. It was a fun experience. It was fun to be challenged as a hitter in regards to figuring out ways to keep the ball down. So that was fun. I actually did, for once in my life, hit fairly well. I think made it through the first. You get a ton of at bats too. I'm talking a ton. So in 3 games, gosh, I probably got, I would say, close to 20 at bats. It was crazy, and I didn't make an out until the last game, and it frustrated me very, very much so, because I was hitting the ball well, getting on base when there was nobody on, whether it be swinging the bat or taking walks. We even had, I never got the official stat, but we even had a bet out for the person that could get on base the most without hitting a ball out. So basically you're moving, you're keeping the ball in, whether it be walking or base hits or anything else. Whoever got the most hits while keeping the ball in the park, that was going to be an interesting one. I don't know who won it. Brian said he thinks I did. I walked a lot just because I had our guy Mitchell. We've seen him on the channel a few times. Mitchell is stronger than a freaking ox, hits the ball so hard, and he hit well that day. I had him in front of me, and he was clearing the bases off, so it was up to me to try to find ways to get on base. I did it swinging the bat. I did it walking any way I can get on base, trying to help Brian, get Brian set up. I had Brian hitting behind me. But it was fun in that regard. It challenges you as a hitter as opposed to just, bowling a ball, one ball after another out of the park. But if you're going to set that up like that to where you're going to do no solos and they're outs, you have to have a screen. You just 100% have to. Mike wants to know, speaking of this tournament here, did anybody get hurt? No, not that I know of. Nobody got hurt. But I'm going to tell you something. If you've never played on turf before, man, I'm going to tell you something. And for the people that have, the ball gets on you so fast. And what I mean by that is a sharply hit like ground ball on dirt. It is still a hard hit ball, don't get me wrong. But the more times it hits that dirt, it loses momentum. But when you get on the turf, especially when it's cold outside, when the ball is hard, it's not going to lose any energy. Dude, it just skips. It just skips across the infield. Dude, we had a guy playing short. He normally plays third base. Dude, he was playing short and out there just, gloving it. Because it's just reaction play. Even playing deep, it's just a reaction play because everything is so hot on the ground. But turf is a whole different animal. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the microphone. Turf is a whole different animal. And a good fielder, it's interesting to see guys that are really, really good fielders on turf can be sketchy on dirt, and then I've seen guys that have been really good on dirt be sketchy on turf. To be able to be good on both is very impressive, and there's plenty of guys out there that can do it. But it's impressive in the regard that you could play those balls that get on you fast and almost skip across the turf, and then you can still be ready for the ones that take the bad or the funky hops on the dirt. Because that's the one thing that's nice about the turf is you're never going to get that hop that bites, jumps up and bites your head off or hits you in the shoulder. You're never going to get those. More times than not, the ball is just going to bite and just turn over. But it's the whole thing in all was a good time. I got to play with all my guys that I love playing softball with, so it was 100% worth going. No matter how much I sit here and piss and moan about the circumstances in the fields and giving up 250-foot home runs and that kind of thing. It was a good time. I got to play with a lot of the old Sonic guys and a lot of guys that I've known for years, and you just can't pass that up. You just cannot. I even told my wife. She said, Brian asked me to play, and I'm probably not going to go. And then he asked me again and told me who he had, and I was like, all right, I got to go. It's the guys, You've been there. If you've been there long, and if you played softball long enough, and you've had that group, then you've been there. You know what it's like. It's the boys, man. It's like the boys show up to the house, It's like when you're a kid, everybody shows up to the house. It's like, Mom, can I go play? The guys are here. Same deal. Except it's a wife and not a mom. She is a mom, but not my mom. We're about to get deep. I better just move on. But I see we got my man Brian in the chat. Is there any chance at all that we can harass Brian into coming on the podcast tonight? What are we thinking? There's 6 of you, and one of them is him. What are we thinking? You think we can get it done? What about give us 10 minutes, Greg? Long story. Maybe if he comes on, we can tell him why I call him Greg sometimes. I know I confuse people with that. So everybody's got a nickname. I don't even remember how mine got started. I'm Leslie. Everybody, Brian and Gabe call me Leslie. We called Gabe Dave. Brian said good night. We called Gabe Dave because everybody used to mistake him for that when he worked at State Farm. You would say, hey, this is Gabe at State Farm. And they would say, oh, hey, Dave, how you doing? And then Brian is nice guy, Greg. Some dude at a tournament thought his name was Greg, kept calling him, oh, you that dang Greg. And carrying on. And next thing you know, he's Greg. So I always get hung up sometimes when I do the voiceovers of using nicknames instead of real names. Like I had a guy one time was like, it's like, I'm confused. Like Gabe and Dave look very similar. Are they the same person? I was like, oh yeah, my bad. So yeah, I got to kind of keep myself in line when it comes to that. Give me just a second here. I just had something pop up I got to deal with here. Thinking like a minute tops. While I'm doing this, if anybody's got any topics, questions, anything like that they want to drop in the comments here, that'd be swell. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Had some business to tend to here real quick. Kind of one of those deals where I just gotta hurry up and do it so I can just have it done. And by the way, I still haven't seen any recipes for what to do tomorrow in the comment section from all 5 of you. I'm in a debacle with a carry-in, and I gotta figure something out. What am I gonna do? I have no clue. Not even a little bit. At this point, it's looking like it might end up being Rotel. But yes, Mike, you are correct. So, Headbanger did finally, after lots of trials and tribulations, get the rights to sell Easton. We have the Black Magic throwback. Dude, it looks sick, by the way. You know what? Let's pull that up. You want to? I think that's a great idea. We should pull that up. So, let's see. Boom. So clean. Look at that. That is so freaking cool. So I swung a Black Magic baseball bat way back in the day, and didn't quite look like this one, but it kind of gives you that old nostalgic feels, you know. And I do believe this one even comes. Look at that! Even comes in a 30 ounce. Just kind of keep the OG vibes going, which is very rare. You don't hardly see slow pitch bats coming in anything over a 28 these days. Even 28s are getting hard to come by. I remember one time, and I may have repeated this a few different times, but you never know who you got listening to the podcast here. So I was at a call with some people one time, and the company that they were affiliated with, I mean, they work for this company, they accounted for 28-ounce bats, accounted for 5% of their sales the previous year. 28-ounce bats accounted for 5% of their sales. So I know everybody is bat speed for life and control this and control that, but I'm telling you, the 240s are making a comeback. Sorry, the 240s are here. The heavier bats need to make a comeback. They just really do. I'm sure it'll be just like anything else over the next couple of years. They're going to get ridiculous hot and everything will be super forgiving. And basically what I'm saying is everything's going to be as good as a Louisville. I'm telling you right now, Louisville Slugger makes the best 240s on the market. Hands down, I'll fight you for it. You will not change my mind. There are a lot of other really good bats out there. Like Louisville is just as good as a 220 for whatever reason. However they did it, I don't know. The Louisville 240s are just as good as the 220s. And then you've got a lot of manufacturers that make a lot of good stuff. If you're pure, you've got the Indium 1, absolutely sick bat. The Indium 2, really fun bat. The Protons were nice. I thought the Protons were good. You've got the Mikan Freak 9R and the KP23. You've got the Davis Bellardello DeMarini. You've got the Young Guns from DeMarini. You've got the Mid-Loaded Not Alive from DeMarini. You've got the Creature from Worth. You've got the Primo. I mean, there's all kinds of good bats out there for the 240s, but the Louisvilles are just head and shoulders better. Can't tell you why. Can't even begin to tell you why. But that's just facts. But as the 240s are starting to make a comeback, I feel like we're going to start to see heavier bats be more relevant again, because you're going to have to find something to make up for the performance that you didn't have. That you now don't have from swinging a bat that was testing 180. Your 25-ounce bat that tests 180 no longer hits the ball 320 feet. Your 25-ounce bat that tests 260 hits the ball 280 feet. So physics are really coming into play there. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but that's mine, and I'm sticking to it. Let's see, what else do we have? We also have the... If I could spell, that'd be great. So we also offer the Easton Kapow, which I'm going to tell you now, what a unit. That's a sick looking bat. I know I've Brian, if you're still here, I know that I razz the Easton guys, and the Easton really just hasn't blown me away with their 240s. They're nice. And I will say that the ones I tested later in the year were great. The Balance Resmondo was another really good bat. But all things aside, this is a sick-looking bat. It's not even from like the whole like red, white, and blue aspect. Just the colors drive. The dark blue, the light blue. I'm really not big on the whole comic thing. Like, it's whatever to me. But just the way the graphics laid out, the design, and everything else, great-looking bat. And yes, Mike, you do need a Kapow. Hit your boy up. Let's get you one. Right? It's Christmas time. What'd you guys get me for Christmas, by the way? Just kidding, don't answer that. So, yeah, you get them gift cards, get you a little bit of money, something to spend. Keep your boy in mind. I can get you fixed up with any of the new Eastons or anything else you see on the Headbanger website. But for you ASA guys, let's not forget to also check out. Sorry, I'm probably giving you whiplash going scene to scene, but I don't want to mess up and show you something you shouldn't see. Then we have the Ghost Mondo. I do believe these come in two different barrel sizes. I believe it would be a 12.5 and a 13.5, if I remember correctly. Both of them will be loaded. And let's see, with the Zwap was the ASA Easton that we tried this year. I thought it was a decent bat. The Ghost technology is starting to come around. They're starting to get it figured out to where it can be just like better than good. I feel like they're like really tiptoeing that line there. So I'm interested to try these out for sure. Hopefully Headbanger is going to be able to have a few extras to send out, because bleeding money for softball bats this year was a rough go. And then we also have the other Ghost Mondo. Not real wild about the color scheme on this one, but Really digging the new graphics. This is the 12.5-inch barrel, again loaded. So some super sick looking bats there from Easton. Really glad to have them on board. I'm really glad to have Easton on board now, because I know there's a lot of Easton fans out there, especially a lot of like my local friends. So to be able to get them Easton now will be really cool. Let's see what wants to know. The loaded is the half-ounce in load. Always forget. To my interpretation, yes. Loaded just basically means half-ounce in load. They say, like, what is it? They use the term half to 3/4 ounce or whatever. And then there's player loaded, which would be your full ounce bats. I believe it's player loaded, right? Somebody help me out. I haven't been real big on my Easton since that's something that another carrier usually has, and we try not to do too much of that on the channel. But I do believe they call it player loaded, which would be your full ounce models. So let's see. I do know, I'm not going to make you sit through me finding this stuff on Facebook, but I do know that some, okay, so they're on the site. Sweet. So, got the new KP coming in here. The white and yellow will be interesting. I remember, oh yeah, duh, Daniel, mother load, duh. Can't believe I forgot that. So that tells you how up I am on the Eastons. But who remembers, the year was 2017 maybe, when the, gosh, what was it? The Andy Purcell legit had this same color yellow on it. And everybody was going around saying, oh, it's going to get banned. It's going to get banned. I actually made a post. It's kind of funny. I made a post on one of the softball pages about it. You know, oh, this is for sale. You know, it's what I say, $400 used. Got to get these while you can. Super hot. They're going to quit making them. Just totally being a troll. And it made it as far as people like reaching out to Andy Purcell himself to figure out if it was real. And I was kind of like, oops. But the KP looks sick. I'm really enjoying that. Then we got the ASA KP. Digging that too. Graphics good and clean on that one. Adam says Harvey left Worth. I did not know that. So where'd he end up going? Is he just kind of a free spirit then? Freak 9R looks sick. Again, I really... like red and black are one of my favorite color combos. My favorite color is purple. Don't ask. But red and black is a really good color combo. I thought last year's Freak 9R looked really good, and this one also does as well. Harvey went to Juno? Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. The Junos are nice. The final chapter was great. But I don't know. Guy get hit with a broomstick, but the Junos just don't really get me going like some of these other manufacturers, other than the final chapter. I thought the final chapter was phenomenal. Then we got the mic and benefit the badge. Good looking bat. Let's see what else we got. Then I still don't understand. Okay, there's two problems with this. Two problems with this one I don't understand, but I'll still sell you one. And I'm probably going to swing this too, just so you know. Why Mikan is still sticking to the DC41. I don't know if there's more behind that. Maybe I need to get somebody on here and start asking questions. But I don't understand why they keep pumping out DC41s when Denny Crine's not even with the company anymore. And they've also gotten away from the DC41s. When Mikan transitioned to the two-piece bats, the DC41 was always the big barrel. Lanny Leandra Void.fi. Send nudes. So anyway, his stuff was always big barrel and load, big barrel and load. And at least they stuck with the Supermax thing here. But why did they make this a short barrel? I don't understand that. I do not for the life of me understand why they made a short barrel DC. Looks sick. Let's not get that twisted. see. I think here's the other one here. Yeah. Great looking bats. I just don't understand the DC-41 thing and the short barrel thing. Then I'm trying to think. I think this was in the same release as the DCs. So I think the DCs, let's see. Yeah. I do believe the DCs are like starting to circulate a little bit. It's where this other stuff is still on pre-order. But they also have this Psycho 2. Great looking bat. Really like the black and gold. I'll tell you one bat that not necessarily I wanted to try, but I thought it looked really freaking cool was the the Freak 54. Basically had something to do with some Canadian thing. It was like Studio 54 or whatever it was. But it was really nostalgic looking graphics. I thought it looked really cool. Squirrel moment for you there. But there's a look at the Mikan and Worth and Easton lines. And as I said, this is going to be kind of a short, quick podcast if you caught the intro here. So I'm probably going to shut her down now, go figure out something for a crock pot meal here for tomorrow. I'll follow up next week with what I got, pictures and everything. Maybe we need to have Snacks on sometime soon. Every time I ask Snacks to be on the podcast, he says, LOL. That's all he ever says. It's not like Brian anymore. Everybody tell Snacks we need Snacks back on the podcast. But listen, main thing for right now. Hug a loved one. Say hello to the ones you usually don't. Check in with people. See how everybody's doing. It's the holidays. Even that one cousin or that one uncle that really just makes you mad because they're, on some bullshit right now with politics or vaccines or whatever else. Just reach out to them and say, hey, hope you're doing well. Because it's the holidays. Spread the cheer. Because the BP hero said so. Everyone have a good holiday. Swing hard in case you hit it. BP hero will catch you next time.